Okay, we want to look at a formula unit of aluminum sulfate. Consists of how many aluminum ions and how many sulfate ions. So aluminum, we know its symbol looks like this, but we need to talk about sulfate. You have to be able to recognize a polyatomic ion, and sulfate is a polyatomic ion. And that is what sulfate looks like when it's before we have balanced charge. So it has one sulfur, four oxygens, and a 2- charge. So if we need to balance, we know aluminum is going to have a 3+ charge. Aluminum has a set charge. Here's aluminum, and it's in group 3. And we know aluminum is a metalloid, so it's going to have a 3+ charge. It has a set charge, and it has a 3+ charge. So if we take our charges, remember, and we just pull them down. We do this, and we do this, and we get aluminum 2 sulfate 3. So it wants to know how many aluminums we have and how many sulfates we have. So we have 2 aluminums and we have 3 sulfates. So that would be C. All right, I'm gonna erase all of this. Actually, let's leave it. Okay, let's do a different color. Which set of elements below contains an alkali metal, a noble gas, and a transition metal, respectively? Respectively means that it goes in this order. It goes alkali metal, noble gas, and then transition metal. So in this order, we want to find something. These questions would always trip me up. And so for a test, I would go with what I knew, and I would cross off the rest. We all know the noble gases. Right? Sometimes we can get mixed up on the transition metals and what are the alkali metals. Because these are all transition metals, but this isn't, and this isn't, and this isn't. So you're thinking, do I remember that those are not transition metals? I don't know. But we do know that the noble gases are these guys right here. So I'm going to look for an answer that has a noble gas in the middle, because it wants it in the middle, right? It has an alkali noble transition. So we have A has argon, and argon is a noble gas. So this could possibly be one. I don't know what Kr is. Oh, but it's a noble gas. Well, that takes that. And neon is also a noble gas, and calcium is not. So we can cross this guy off, because calcium is not a noble gas. Okay. Now you have to decide, do you feel confident knowing where the alkali metals are? Or do you feel more confident knowing where the transition metals are? Well, for me, I feel confident knowing where the alkali metals are. That's group 1. Group 1 has the alkali metals. Let's erase all this goop. All right, so group 1, and you would just look up at the periodic table. These are your alkali. These are your alkaline. So we want something that has an alkali, a group 1, as a first option. So the first is rubidium. All right, that is for sure alkali. The second is calcium, which is not an alkali. Calcium is in group 2, so we can cross that off. And then helium is an alkali metal. So now we're down to 2. Now we just need to look at this last option for both of these. Veridium and what is Ag? I don't know what Ag is. Silver. Oh, I knew what Ag was. There goes the brain. Okay, so we're looking at Ag and V. So Ag, see, this is where I go, shoot, does Ag have a set charge or is it a transition metal? And then I look at V. And here's the thing, I know for sure that V is a transition metal. And I was unsure about silver. Silver does have a set charge. And that's something I know just from practice, but it might be something you might not have had memorized. But this is a good way to do process of elimination. We know that vanadium is for sure a transition metal. So our answer is C. Okay. We'll do this one on a next video.